Thanks for checking out our video. Feel free to join our free weekly newsletter called Pop Culture Annotated, and also join our Discord server to talk with us and others that share your fandom in pop culture entertainment. Links in the description. With Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings drama series set to take place during the Second Age, we here at HN thought it'd be helpful to go over why the Second Age is so important. Just going over a few things here and there, so this video is intended to be a primer for the Second Age, more so than like a wiki, so certain moments may not be referenced. I'm just trying to basically outline the Second Age for the most part, so if you guys are more interested in it, you guys can do more research, and we'll probably cover some more things on the channel in different days upcoming as the series is progressing. But yeah, I just thought it'd be really interesting to do. So on Arda, which is Lord of the Rings' name for Earth, there are various ages, and they're not really bound by a fixed amount of time. It's more so bound by certain events that go on. So for the Second Age, it lasted 3,441 years and began after the War of Wrath. And this war was between the elves, mankind, dwarves, Valar, and the Dark Lord Morgoth, and he was the Dark Lord preceding Sauron, kind of who Sauron basically succeeded with regards to the mantle of being the Dark Lord. And after countless casualties and vast destruction across all of Arda, Morgoth was overcome by the forces of good and banished to a location called the Void. Now, this event set in motion the rise of Sauron, which is, in some people's minds, the primary focus for most of, if not all of the Second Age. Now, during the first 1,000 years of the Second Age, the House of Elros was founded by the first king of Numenor named Elros, and he was half elven and half man, giving him various abilities such as longevity, and he used his long lifespan to rule his kingdom for 410 years. Altogether, he lived for 500 years, and when he died, Sauron coincidentally began his actions, which a lot of people use to indicate his rise. And before 1,000 years of the Second Age would be completed, Numenor would have 6 more kings. Now, when the Second Age reached about 1,000 years, Sauron began building his infamous tower known as Barad-dûr, built in Mordor near the famous volcano Mount Doom, and construction of it took about 600 years. And during this time, there was a lot of rulers that came about, with 2 of them being queens and the other 2 being kings. Now, Sauron also started deceiving the elven smiths around this time in creating the 19 Rings of Power, weapons which Sauron hoped would allow him to control the elves of Middle-earth. And I don't really mean like mind control like in a lot of sci-fi movies, I mean more so influence and manipulate type of control. Now, by the time his tower was to be completed, the One Ring was also forged by Sauron. And around year 1693 of the Second Age, Sauron's betrayal of the elves became public, and this led to what was known as the War of the Elves in Sauron. Now, Sauron's army was primarily assembled with orcs and trolls. Now, this is where things kind of start to pick up just a bit. Now, there was a lot of destruction from these various battles that took place during the war, one of them resulting in the elves eventually relocating and establishing the town of Rivendell. Now, Middle-earth also at this time was beginning to have colonies assembled by people of Numenor around the end of the second millennia of the Second Age. And during the last full millennia of the Second Age, Sauron enlisted the assistance of 9 men, granting them the Rings of Power. Now, not all the Rings of Power obviously, but 9 Rings of Power, and these 9 ended up becoming what was known as ring wraiths, with their powers and life force being connected to Sauron's own. Numenor at this time also experienced rulerships under 7 different kings and 1 queen, and the 12th king signaled a shift from previous rulers as it began distancing itself and society in this kingdom between the elves and man. So doing things like, for example, during the last 400 years of the Second Age, Elven language and the elves themselves as a people were prohibited from the kingdom. Now, Sauron is also captured during this time, but is able to deceive and corrupt the leadership, so eventually, oddly enough, he becomes an advisor to the king. And not too long afterwards, Sauron begins his second war against the forces of mankind and the elves. And this alliance that ends up being formed between mankind and the elves, called the Last Alliance, is eventually able to defeat Sauron when the One Ring is cut off his finger, which is actually shown in the Lord of the Rings films. Now, future developments from this moment are considered part of the Third Age, but comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about the Second Age? Are you guys excited to see this explored in the Amazon Lord of the Rings series? I'm sure Amazon will have their own creative takes on a few different things, but again, like I said before, this is just like an outline, a primer of the Second Age, so a few things I didn't really go into, but comment below your guys' thoughts. what is something you would like us to go into in a video, and we'll see you guys later.